Good afternoon, parties, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen and friends. We would like to start this afternoon's session. Can I ask everybody to take their seats and we'll start in a few seconds. Thank you very much. So we are now on the home stretch. We have to receive a couple of reports back to plenary of the groups that met beforehand, and then move to agenda item 11, adoption of the agenda, and then the closing of our meeting. So I propose that we start and hear back on agenda item 4A and the contact group that was working on life cycle refrigerant management and CRP4. And I would ask if Maureen or Sergio would be able to take the floor to provide a report back. And I see that Mexico has asked for the floor. So Mexico, you have the floor.
Gracias.
Thank you, Co-Chair. On behalf of my co-facilitator Moran and myself, I'm happy to report that the second meeting of the contact group had very productive progress, which brought us closer to a final version of the draft decision. In particular, we'd like to highlight the valuable work conducted in the margins of this meeting by the proponent parties of the CRP in order to produce a new text proposal which collects the concerns and comments expressed during the contact group discussions, as well as the adjustments proposed by other parties to the text, which facilitated the work remaining in the review conducted by the group as a whole. Nevertheless, it's not possible to achieve final agreements on the full content of the draft proposal. Therefore, we need to continue discussions within the group in order to reach a definitive version. In this regard, although there is a readiness of those in the group to continue discussing the document during this meeting, it would also be well accepted if, due to the lack of available time, the chairs of the meeting decide to send the document to the next meeting of the parties to continue the necessary work in that context. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sergio, for your good work, and also to Moran and to the members of the contact group. You've had quite a few hours to work through the issues, and I'm glad to hear that there has been good progress and a good expression of views in the contact group. Given where we are in the week, I propose that we close this agenda item at this meeting and we send the working draft of the CRP to the meeting of parties for further consideration. If there's no objection to this way forward, and I don't see any delegation wishing to take the floor, we will proceed in that way. Thank you very much, colleagues. We now turn to agenda item 4C, and there was an informal discussion on TEEP restructuring, which was led by Alexandra from Italy and Leslie from Grenada. And I just would like to turn to Grenada to provide a readout on that discussion. Thank you very much, Leslie.
Thank you very much, Madam Co-Chair, and thank you for the opportunity to report on the outcome of our informal discussions within the group. And I'm making the report on behalf of my co-chair, Alessandro. The group met for the second time. There was very limited discussions, especially emanating from the extensive range of questions and answers we had in the first meeting of the group. And we were left with maybe not a clear or definitive path forward, but what was very clear was that parties needed some more time for reflection the TEEP also needed some more time to update the review and to provide some additional information at a later date. We discussed to a certain extent the various scenarios and proposals of the TEEP, and also looking at the meeting frequency and schedule and the composition and numbers of the various talks. And the general feeling is that we would need, not at this meeting, but to come back at this issue at the MOP at some other time when more information will be made available and the parties will be in a better position to make some more constructive interventions in regards to this activity. We would like to express our profound gratitude to the members of the informal group who have contributed to the rich discussions. And we'd also like to thank the Secretariat for providing the usual support. And again, we thank all members for their engagement. And so I'd like to thank you for the opportunity, and that's our report from within the informal group. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Leslie, and thank you to you and Moran for leading that discussion. I would also like to add my thanks to the TEEP for making themselves available and for answering many questions and answers, as I understand, were put to them about their proposed restructure. And we agree with your proposal to come back to this at the meeting of the parties, and that we close this agenda item now. I don't see any objection to that proposal, so this agenda item is also closed. Thank you very much. So now we move to agenda item 11, which is the adoption of the report. The report we are about to adopt is contained in documents L1 and L1 Add 1. Both documents have been posted on the meeting portal. L1 covers discussions on Monday and Tuesday, and document L1 Add 1 covers discussions on Wednesday and Thursday. I understand that both documents are still only available in English at this time, and I would propose that we move to adoption of the report in English unless any delegation wishes to wait for the translations. We don't have an exact timetable for the translations. It's working, yeah. So, so the proposal is that we move forward with adoption of the report in English unless any delegation wishes to wait for the translations. Is there any objection to that proposal? Bahrain, you have the floor.
شكرا سيدة الرئيس على إثارة هذا الأمر. ليس لدي اعتراض للمضي قدما.
Thank you, Co-Chair. I have no objection to moving forwards. However, I would like to make a comment. I would like to take into consideration the translation of reports for future meetings, that it's not simply the English version that is always presented. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bahrain, and your comment is well noted. So I don't see any objection to the proposal to adopt the report in English. So thank you very much. We will proceed on that basis. Thank you for your flexibility, delegations. You will note when you look at the documents that some sections are yet to be completed. This is in conformity with our practice to adopt reports of proceedings based on the understanding that the report will be finalised after the session, including some of the sessions that are already included in the draft report. We are putting it forward for adoption today on the understanding that proceedings today and approved changes will be incorporated into the final report. We will go through the reports section by section, which will largely be agenda item by agenda item. We propose that any participant with minor editorial comments bring those to the Secretariat here at the podium immediately after we finished adopting the report. However, if there are specific and extensive corrections to any paragraph of the report, then please request the floor to read out those corrections and then provide the text to the Secretariat so that it can be properly reflected in the final report of the meeting. Thank you. So we'll now take up document L1 for adoption. I get to use the gavel, so I'm very excited. So we will start with the opening of the meeting, which is in section 1 and is paragraphs 1 to 11. Are there any comments on this section? I see none. Adopted. Section 2, attendance, paragraphs 12 to 14. Are there any corrections? I see none. Adopted. B, adoption of the agenda, paragraphs 15 to 24. Are there any comments? China, you have the floor.
Actually, we have some minor changes regarding the paragraph 18, which shows the content that China mentioned during this section, and we suggest to make these minor changes as follows. Hold on, please. Sorry, give me just a few seconds. First, we would like to make the change to the beginning that to change the representative, a representative that to the representative of China. And then to the representative of China, and I would like to also change the word said to emphasized. And the final change would be in the third line, divert. We think it is more appropriate to use the word deviate. So the whole will goes like that. Whole paragraph will be the representative of China emphasized that. And the second sentence is, it would not be appropriate to deviate from that path to blah, blah, blah until the end. Thank you.
Thank you very much, China, for your clear comments. Are there any other comments on these paragraphs? I see none. The paragraphs are adopted. We move to section C, paragraph 25, organisation of work. Are there any comments on this paragraph? I see none. Adopted. We move to section 3, terms of reference for the replenishment study, and that is paragraphs 26 to paragraphs 37, noting that this section is still to be completed. Are there any comments on this section? I see none. Adopted. We move now to section 4, presentation by the Technology and Economic Assessment, and this is paragraphs 39 to, this is a long section, 71. Are there any comments on this section? I see no comments. Adopted. We move to section A on life cycle refrigerant management, and that's paragraphs 72 to 88, but in 89 the report is to be completed. Are there any comments on this section? I see none. Adopted. We move now to section B on metered dose inhalers, and that's paragraphs 90 to 96 with the section to be completed. Are there any comments? I see none. Adopted. We move now to section C, options for the organisation of the panel and its technical options committees, paragraphs 98 to 109, and in paragraph 111, the section to be completed. Are there any comments? I see none. Adopted. We move now to any other issues, and the first point here is the TEEP membership changes contained in paragraphs 112 to 114. Are there any comments? I see none. Adopted. We move now to section 2, halons and fire suppression, paragraphs 115 to 124, noting this section is still to be completed. Are there any comments? I see none. Adopted. We move now to the section on very short-lived substances, which is in paragraphs 126 to 129. Are there any comments? I see none. Adopted. We move now to the final section of this agenda item, which is the PFAS issue, which is in paragraphs 130 to 137. Are there any comments? EU, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Co-Chair. It's not really about the paragraphs, it's about the heading 4. We think that it should be per and polyfluoroalkyl substances. So it's just, I think there's a bit of an error in the heading. Thank you.
Thank you very much, EU, for your sharp eye. I see no other comments. Switzerland, I'm sorry, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Co-Chair. We would suggest a slight addition to paragraph 131. There, in the middle of the paragraph, the conclusion is presented that the risk to humans from TFA might need revisiting. This is apparently now from how this paragraph could be interpreted only related to the sentence right before that, to make it clear that it is related to all of the information presented in paragraph 131. We would suggest to add after the sentence that ends with 1990s to start a new sentence with based on several pieces of recent information, and then go on with the increased factor and so on. Sorry. Then go on with the conclusion of. We would submit a proposal to the Secretariat and give the liberty of to reformulate this in appropriate words. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Switzerland. I think we understand what change you're proposing to make. Any other comments on this section? United States.
Thank you, Chair. It's just a minor thing, but I'm just wondering if the beginning of paragraph 132, it's currently stated as almost as a fact, versus I actually think it should say one party or some parties indicated. So maybe this is a technical edit we can provide, but in other words, by inserting the paragraph, I think it's a continuation of the prior paragraph, which is reflecting the points made. This point was made, but I think it needs to just be grounded either in the preceding paragraph or with that slight change to the beginning of the sentence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, United States. So with that small change to the title and then some minor edits to 131 and 132, are we okay to adopt this section? I see no further comments. Adopted. We now turn to the next section, which is feedstocks of controlled substances, which is in paragraphs 138 to 141, with this section to be completed. Are there any comments? I see none. Adopted. We move to enhancing regional atmospheric monitoring of substances controlled by the Montreal Protocol, which is paragraphs 143 through to 158, with this section to be completed. Are there any comments? I see none. Adopted. The remainder of this report is still to be completed. We now turn to L1 Add 1. And the first item there is in paragraphs, is in section A, which is life cycle refrigerant management. Are there any comments? I see none. Adopted. We now move to section B, any other issues, and the section on halons and fire suppressants. And the paragraphs there are paragraphs 5 and 6, with a section to be completed. Are there any comments? I see none. Adopted. We move now to feedstock uses of controlled substances and paragraphs 8 to 10, with a section to be completed. Are there any comments? I see none. Adopted. We move now to regional enhancing regional atmospheric monitoring of substances, and it's paragraphs 12 to 13, but the section is still to be completed. Are there any comments? I see none. Adopted. The next section 4 is further strengthening the Montreal Protocol institutions, and that's paragraphs 15 to 26. Are there any comments? I see none. Adopted. We now move to section 5, which was review of the 2.5% HCFC tail for Article 5 countries for servicing and non-servicing applications, paragraphs 27 to 29. Are there any comments? I see none. Adopted. We turn now to section 6, which is the classification of the State of Palestine, and that's paragraphs 30 to 37, but the section is to be completed. Are there any comments? Thank you very much. I see China. You have the floor.
Thank you, Co-Chair. Actually, we had a small change here, and since we have already sent this change to the Secretariat, we would like to also read it out in this podium to make it more clear. I will go with the paragraph 35 from responding. Yes, responding to those comments, the representative of China stating instead of said that its classification as Article 5 party was irrelevant to the matter under consideration. He reiterated that China's developing country status, especially under the Montreal Protocol, has solid factual ground and international law basis. Moreover, he recalled that the decisions of the past MOPs have clarified that Any change to the list of developing countries needs the request by the relevant party itself and to be considered on an individual basis, not by the request of another party. Thank you.
Thank you very much, China. I note you have provided the text to the Secretariat. Are there any other comments on this section? I see none. Adopted. We now move to section 7, which is other matters, agenda item 10, and the issue related to national and regional initiatives to support implementation of the Kigali Amendment, and paragraphs 39 to 48, with the section to be completed. Are there any comments? I see none. Adopted. And then we will leave the adoption of the report and the closure of the meeting for the Secretariat to finalise. We entrust the Secretariat to make those final changes to the adoption of the report. So thank you very much, colleagues, for your quick adoption. One moment. Thank you very much. The Secretariat informs us that the language versions are now available for L1. The French version is about to be uploaded, but the other language versions of L1 are now available. So I apologise for that delay. But as I was about to say, I would like to thank the parties for the relatively quick adoption of the report, and a huge thank you to the Secretariat and to the report writers and to the translators for their work in getting our work properly reflected. So now I turn to my colleague Chantal for the last agenda item, which is the closure of the meeting. Chantal, you have the floor.
Thank you, Annie. Good afternoon, everyone. Prior to our lunch break, the distinguished delegate of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea was requesting the floor to make an intervention. Before I close the meeting, I would like to give the Democratic People's Republic of Korea the floor to make his intervention. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Co-Chair, giving me a floor. The delegation of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea states as follows. The Montreal Protocol is the only successful international legal framework recognized by the entire world, and it is because it is directly to protect the world called Earth, and it presents and promotes clear methods of implementation, obligation, and limits of responsibility. However, the forces that are trying to divide the global ozone layer protection issue into two political camps has merged, and this is an attempt to destroy the achievements made so far in achieving the goals of protocol. Furthermore, it is an unacceptable act to politicize cooperation, neglect the responsibility stated in the Montreal Protocol, and only ask for the member countries to fulfill their obligations and shift the responsibility to others. If the Montreal Protocol is to remain a successful international environmental protection framework, it is urgent to eradicate such negative attitude. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate. Your views that have been expressed will be included in the meeting report, so thank you. So this brings us to the end. Oh, I'm sorry, United States of America, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Can I just ask what agenda item we are currently on in the meeting and how you're saying this will be reflected in the meeting report? We're a little confused as to why this issue is coming up now. We were just scrolling through our agenda. We normally would have expected something like this to have been added to the agenda at the beginning of the meeting. So could I just ask you for that procedural clarity? Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished delegate. So it is not part of a substantive agenda item. It was meant to be part of the closure of the meeting. That was the understanding of the Secretariat. So it was part of closing statements. Is that acceptable? United States, you have the floor.
Thank you, Co-Chair. Well, I mean, that's an interesting question. So just to be clear, at the closure of the meeting, your interpretation is that parties can make statements on issues not germane to the agenda items that we have discussed at the meeting. I'm a little less focused on the substance of this intervention than as to what it might mean for the long-term procedural aspects for this body. And that's why I was sort of curious as to why an issue not on the agenda was coming up in the final moments of our meeting. I have to admit, I'm not 100, perhaps this has happened before, so to be honest, in real time, I'm sort of trying to figure this out. This seems rather unorthodox to me, to put it mildly, but like we were just talking, like, has this happened before? Perhaps it has happened before. Maybe this is actually, there's no new precedent here, but just sort of in real time with just a few seconds, we're sort of trying to think about just whether this is a new procedural aspect. I'm not inclined to continue to raise this issue. However, well, I mean, we'll see how future meetings go. If I had known this was an option, I might have brought a few more things to say at the end of the meeting. But we'll for now just let this one go. The only question, so I assume the meeting report perhaps will reflect what was said in the prior intervention, but maybe it should also just note that one delegate raised some questions about procedural aspects of raising this issue at the closure of the meeting, and we can just leave it there for now. And listen, again, I'm not really sure. Maybe we do this all the time and I've just forgotten it. But it seems a little unorthodox procedurally to me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, USA, and thank you for requesting clarification in terms of procedure. It is my understanding that this is not a precedent. It is not the usual thing that happens. It does happen on occurrence, but we would reflect both comments in the contents of the meeting report. Thank you. So with that, seeing no further requests for the floor, this brings us to the end of the meeting. I want to thank all delegates for your continued spirit of cooperation. We have made encouraging progress, even though sometimes we did disagree. In this body, we always come to compromise and cooperation. So I appreciate you for that. I encourage all delegations to continue to have discussions intersessionally in preparation for the meeting of the parties that is due to happen in November from the 3rd to the 7th. Additionally, prior to the MOP, parties will meet for the 75th Implementation Committee, as well as the MOP 36 Bureau and the informal meeting on facilitating the implementation of the Montreal Protocol. It has been my immense pleasure to be able to serve you in this capacity as co-chair. It has been a little rough sometimes, but this is how you learn. So I appreciate your patience and your willingness to work with me as I navigate this space. I believe that everyone in this room is a credit to their nation, to the organizations that they serve, and to this body, and it is an honor to serve with you all. I wish to thank the Secretariat, the technical team, the administrative teams, and the interpreters for your support throughout the meeting. And I also wish to thank my distinguished co-chair for her support and cooperation and guidance and the laughs throughout this week. So thank you very much. It was a pleasure to serve with you, Annie. And on behalf of my co-chair and myself, I wish to thank the Secretariat and to thank you all. And we look forward to seeing you at MOP 37. We wish everyone a safe journey home. And I now declare the meeting closed. Thank you. Now I can take these off.